John Zogby, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Bill. How are you?
It was a long winter, wasn't it?
Oh, is it over yet?
Yeah, well, it's just unbelievable. So let's talk about. Let's start out with Dean Skelos. What are your thoughts? And Preet Bharara is out there taking them down one at a time.
Yeah, and a lot resting on this prosecutor. There's a number of cases. I mean, symbolically, these are very important. Whether these charges are going to hold in court, we have to remember Joe Bruno.
Right.
All the years and years and all the money that was spent to take it down, and they didn't. I don't know enough about the details with Skelos.
Yeah.
I know a bit more about the Silver case, but I really can't comment on the merit of the case.
Some believe that maybe Bharara, who keeps kind of hinting that there's more to come, that his big catch is going to be Andrew Cuomo. I've always said I think this guy is a little too smart and shrewd for that. Do you agree with that?
That Andrew is too smart?
Yeah, Cuomo.
I think to nail a sitting governor is going to be very, very difficult. I think what he's going after, in some instances, the low-hanging fruit. In other instances, in the case of say, Senator Libas, who's Skelos' deputy and Binghamton icon, the charges really appear to be very skimpy and frivolous. So it's really hard to know exactly what the prosecutor is doing.
Yeah. And Joe Griffo, Senator Seward, those names have been tossed around for possible replacements, maybe only temporary, but replacements. Don't you? I find it hard to believe that the downstate's would allow someone upstate to take that leadership role.
Well, remember now that this is the Senate. The Senate's controlled by Republicans,
right?
And so there's a stronger base upstate of Senate Republicans, and Griffo and Seward have been there a long time, chair some good committees, and are respected by their peers. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, it'd be big for us if that were to happen. All right, Dr. Ben Carson and Carly Fiorina, two that have jumped in. Your thoughts?
Well, Ben Carson's polling numbers are pretty good.
Yeah.
Plus, he's an exciting figure, a different sort of figure. Very well respected, as a surgeon, historic in terms of some of the surgeries that he's done. Made a lot of noise at a prayer breakfast years ago, kind of declaring himself a conservative. So he's out there. He's got potential in Iowa, running as a social or Christian conservative. It's hard to see, he's got two problems. It's hard to see where he goes from there. The competition's going to be very heavy among Christian conservatives in Iowa, but it's hard for me to see how he does anything at all in New Hampshire. And then by the time you get down to South Carolina, the only other state where it matters to be a Christian conservative, by that time there's generally a front runner.
Yeah.
And you're an also-ran. His other problem is very articulate, but he's not briefed well enough on issues, and that's going to be, I think, a real problem.
There seems to be a gay movement that is pretty strong in this country right now. He's made some comments about homosexuality that have angered that side. How strong are they, and how much of a role does do the gays and lesbians play in this upcoming presidential race?
Extremely strong, because it's not only that the movement is strong, is stronger, but it's become mainstream, and that there is a considerable amount of momentum that's being held by the LGBT community. So now what you have are old laws that are falling. You have relationships that have been built. You have the situation where it's not the detriment to be outed, that it once was. And, that entire bias, while still existing, is falling like a house of cards. you could arguably say that Ben Carson and social conservatives are just on the wrong side of history right now.
The other announcement was Carly Fiorina, and there's an interesting story here. You know, she, of course, was at Hewlett-Packard, so she's considered someone on the tech side, but with a huge faux pas that her candidacy, her campaign did not register carlyfiorina.org. And somebody did, and it's an anti-Carly Fiorina website. So a little bit of a faux pas there.
Well, a big faux pas, and there is a strong anti-Carly Fiorina movement out there. People, particularly, former employees and that network of former employees who are very bitter about her tenure at Hewlett-Packard. She was not highly regarded as a good CEO. She's very popular on the lecture tour. She's a strong speaker. She has a significant degree of charisma. But she hasn't won anything. You know, she ran for the Senate a few years ago against Barbara Boxer in California and did very poorly. I think she's out there right now to position herself to be on the ticket, but it's hard for me to see her getting on the ticket. The hope is, that she is the woman in the race, and the GOP, in the interest of some diversity, need to have a woman. But like Hillary on the Democratic side, Fiorina on the Republican side, perhaps not the right woman at this moment.
You've been quite lukewarm on Hillary, and she still slightly leads, but there's a trust factor that seems to be disappearing in the polls. Last night, I don't know if you saw the interview on NBC, pretty more of an extended interview during the nightly news with Bill Clinton. I thought it was a biting interview, and Clinton says nothing sinister about any foreign donations to their foundations. Thoughts on it?
It's going to dog them throughout the campaign. But I don't think it's going to be any of those charges. I think it's going to be a steady drip, drip, drip. And the fact that she's just very awkward out there campaigning for this position, it really is almost as if she expects to be president by years of momentum. I've wanted it longer than anybody else, and I've been here longer than anybody else. Let's get this over with. And that's not going to happen.
All right, John Zogby. It's ZogbyAnalytics.com. John, we appreciate it, as always, coming on. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks.
All right.